Hoy, please draw a question and give it to Katie. Please take your time to answer, but you are limited to 1.5 minutes to answer once Katie completes reading your question. Please answer to the best of your ability. You may now draw.
Okay, I'm going to read it twice for you. A report in 2015 from the Center for Migration Studies indicated that 1 out of every 7 Asian immigrants is undocumented in the United States. If crowned, how would you utilize your title to advocate for undocumented students at the university? Again, a report in 2015 from the Center for Migration Studies indicated that 1 out of every 7 Asian immigrants is undocumented in the United States. If crowned, how would you utilize your title to advocate for undocumented students at the university?
I would actually make them feel as if they are a part of our country. Even though they seem as if they are undocumented, it doesn't mean that we should treat them wrong. As Mr. Asian, I would like to represent every single one of these Asian Americans that they are a part of our family. Thank you.
Next is Nina Dow. Nina, please draw a question and give it to Christopher. Please take your time to answer, but you are limited to 1.5 minutes to answer once Christopher completes reading the question. Please answer to the best of your ability. You may now draw.
Nina, your question is, what do you think has been the most important social movement of your generation and why? Again, what do you think has been the most important social movement of your generation and why?
Thank you, Chris, for that question. I think the most important social movement that my generation has done is beginning steps of us supporting each other and building bridges and the connections with not just our culture, but with others also. And I'm so sorry, could you repeat the question one more time?
Yes, sorry, I pulled it. What do you think has been the most important social movement of your generation and why?
So like my last answer, I think us connected together and uniting is a social movement itself for us to connect with each other and just build those bridges with our culture, with others, and with other organizations and other people. And with that, we can come together and really make a positive impact in this world no matter what it is. Thank you.
Thank you.
Up next is Sandra Lee. Sandra, please draw a question and give it to Christopher. Please take your time to answer, but you are limited to 1.5 minutes to answer once Christopher completes reading your question. Please answer to the best of your ability. You may now draw.
Sandra, your question is, social media has become a prominent factor in the way we perceive one another. If crowned Miss Asian OU, how would you utilize social media to positively affect the Asian American community at OU? Again, social media has become a prominent factor in the way we perceive one another. If crowned Miss Asian OU, how would you utilize social media to positively affect the Asian American community at OU?
Thank you for the question. I know in this 21st century, social media is a really big impact in our life. I would utilize the social media to spread these events, for example, like Mamao and other events that's gonna hold with the ASA or American students, so I can promote that, what we're gonna do at the event, and I'll use the social media really well to promote our what the event is going to be and what we are going to show for our Asian culture. Thank you.
Next is Calvin Tran. Calvin, please draw a question and give it to Katie. Please take your time to answer, but you are limited to 1.5 minutes to answer once Katie completes reading your question. Please answer to the best of your ability. You may now draw.
You got time to think. A recent report revealed that the U.S. Asian population is estimated to be over 20.4 million and continues to be the fastest growing racial or ethnic group among other communities. At the University of Oklahoma, based off of the spring 2018 enrollment summary, Asian students make up only 5.6% of the total student population. If crowned, how would you help to increase enrollment of Asian American students to OU? Again, a recent report revealed that the U.S. Asian population is estimated to be over 20.4 million and continues to be the fastest growing racial or ethnic group among other communities. At the University of Oklahoma, based off of the spring 2018 enrollment summary, Asian students make up only 5.6% of the total student population. If crowned, how would you help to increase enrollment of Asian American students at OU?
I mean, that's a good question that needs an answer. I guess we can start by having all the organizations just like improve, like going after them, you know, just like attacking them with social media, bam, like recruiting them. And like, hey, join OU's awesome. We got Asian food, that's awesome. And like, we just have to increase, you know, just publicity, marketing wise, advertising, and just welcome them to the OU family.
Thank you, Kelvin.
Next is Shreya Nagudi. Shreya, please draw a question and give it to Christopher. Please take your time to answer, but you are limited to 1.5 minutes to answer once Christopher completes reading your question. Please answer to the best of your ability. You may now draw.
Shreya, your question is, if you could choose one Asian American leader to consider the biggest contributor to Asian American progress, who would you choose and why? Again, if you could choose one Asian American leader to consider the biggest contributor to Asian American progress, who would you choose and why?
Thank you so much, Chris, for that question. As of right now, my biggest inspiration is Nina Devaluri, Miss America 2014. And the reason I'm saying this is because she came from a similar background as me. From a Telugu family, she is the child of first-generation immigrants. So she knows the realization of persistence, hard work, and what it means to have a good work ethic. And she never started in a high position. She started low, had weight problems, but yet with her persistence and hard work, she used her culture as her advantage. And that's such a good inspiration for me and for all other Asian Americans out there to say that we are not just, yes we are just the girl next door, but rather this girl can do so much more. Thank you.
Next is Nabiha Shah. Nabiha, please draw a question and give it to Christopher. Please take your time to answer, but you are limited to 1.5 minutes to answer once Christopher completes reading your question. Please answer to the best of your ability. You may now draw.
Nabiha, the question is, in 2015, a report compiled by the American Community Survey indicated that 12% of Asian citizens are living in poverty. How would you work to combat this issue within the Norman, Oklahoma City area if crowned Miss Asian OU? Again, in 2015, a report compiled by the American Community Survey indicated that 12% of Asian citizens are living in poverty. How would you work to combat this issue within the Norman, Oklahoma City area if crowned Miss Asian OU?
Thank you so much for that question. So recently when I came to college, I've been volunteering a lot at homeless shelters in the Oklahoma City area, and I've gotten to know these people, they just want to be seen. I know especially that if I was crowned Miss Asian OU, I would make it a point to go out and reach out to families who feel like they're not being seen or not being heard, or may even be embarrassed to reach out for help. Especially in Asian Americans, I think that everyone deserves to be helped equally, and poverty is something that I think is we have to help our fellow man, and that's something I take very, very seriously. So thank you.
Thank you.
Next is Hui Vu. Hui, please draw a question and give it to Katie. Please take your time to answer, but you are limited to a minute and a half to answer once Katie completes reading your question. Please answer to the best of your ability. You may now draw.
Okay. Comparative to other ethnic groups, Asian Americans remain one of the lowest communities when it comes to voter turnout and registration. If crowned Mr. or Miss Asian OU, how would you work to increase civic engagement among the OU Asian community? Again, comparative to other ethnic groups, Asian Americans remain one of the lowest communities when it comes to voter turnout and registration. If crowned Mr. Asian OU, how would you work to increase civic engagement among the OU Asian community?
Could you repeat that one more time?
Comparative to other ethnic groups, Asian Americans remain one of the lowest communities when it comes to voter turnout and registration. If crowned Mr. Asian OU, how would you work to increase civic engagement among the OU Asian community?
So first off, to increase voter turnout from the Asian American community, I would have to emphasize the importance of one person's vote, because a lot of people believe that like my vote doesn't count, like a single vote means nothing. But if the whole Asian community were to come out and vote on a single policy or person, then it would really show what we stand for, and it would really show what we stand for. And it would bring the community together as a whole, knowing that we all support the same thing.
Thank you.
Next is Nicole Vargas. Nicole, please draw a question and give it to Christopher. Please take your time to answer, but you are limited to a minute and a half to answer once Christopher completes reading your question. Please answer to the best of your ability. You may now draw.
Okay, Nicole, your question is, sexual assault on college campuses has been at the forefront of recent headlines. Why is it important for the OU Asian American community to become more involved in tackling this issue? Again, sexual assault on college campuses has been at the forefront of recent headlines. Why is it important for the OU Asian American community to become more involved in tackling this issue?
Thank you, Chris, for that wonderful question. Sexual assault not only impacts Americans, but it also impacts Asian Americans. We need to be brave in our efforts to know that we are, in fact, being affected, and that we are standing by our fellow Asian Americans who are. They shouldn't be afraid to go and tell people, to get help, and to ask for support. We are all here together, and as Ms. Asian OU, I will strive to have their voices heard, reach out to people, counselors and therapists, so that we can work together to ensure that this issue affects us, but get help to fix this issue. Thank you.
Let's give our brave contestants another round of applause. I'm sure they're relieved that this part of the pageant is over. Contestants, please head back to prepare for the conclusion of our program this evening while we give out more raffle prizes.